Hello, and today we're going to be talking about, I think, something really important about youth sports, and that is how to teach sportsmanship through youth sports. So stay tuned as we discuss that all important topic. Sportsmanship is one of the most important things that we can be teaching through youth sports. It used to be one of the foundational things that you would teach. So we'll be talking about the root causes of bad sportsmanship. We're going to be talking about shifting mindsets, building a culture around good sportsmanship, and the tools that we should be teaching kids to be able to learn it. All those things and more, that's what we'll be talking about next. The root causes are complex. Like any human behavior, poor sportsmanship can have many variations or many things that go into contributing to that. But foundationally, coming as a mindset expert, it's about those beliefs that we have that kind of drive this or allow that behavior to manifest itself. Within that, there are things that have been modeled for you, and then the emotional management aspect, because poor sportsmanship is often driven by emotions. Again, those emotions can vary, but fear, anger, frustration, and the acting out of those are very common components of what we think of when we think of poor sportsmanship. Tearing the other people down, using vulgar language, throwing things, having temper tantrums. And there's some important differentials too between the frustration you have when you didn't meet your own expectations. And you'll see professional athletes do that, right? They slam their helmet in the dugout, or you see them doing something on the sidelines and it's not about putting anybody else down. It's the frustration in themselves, like they messed up and those emotions are getting to them. Most of us would say that's not really what we're talking about with poor sportsmanship. Now, sometimes we've seen that with coaches who kind of really lose their cool, and you kind of see some of that behavior becoming what does cross that line to what we call with poor sportsmanship. But for many of us, when we see what we consider poor sportsmanship, it has more to do with how you are treating and acting towards your opponent and the other team than exhibiting your own frustration at yourself. Now, again, that you can cross a line with that as well, but certainly whenever you direct that at your opponent, that is where we often will be thinking of poor sportsmanship. And that the driver of that is going to be what you've been modeled, the emotional management aspect of that, and then the beliefs that have been ingrained into usually from modeling other people that you see. I can give you an example of my own childhood neighborhood friend who highly emotional. His temper would many of us were highly competitive and we would get frustrated ourselves, but he would lash out at the rest of us and kind of be a poor sport, sore loser. Well, I still vividly remember watching down at the local field men's softball where his father was playing and seeing that behavior from his dad. And his dad, as I learned as I got older too, had that reputation as being a poor sport. I talk all the time about mindset shifting, and that's what we want to be teaching when it comes to sportsmanship. So when a young child maybe exhibits something that borders that line, or even when they are experiencing their own frustration, if they don't do that in a really what would be a healthy way, we need to interrupt that pattern, redirect it, and reframe it. So when we begin to shift beliefs around what it means to fail, what it means to win, about having respect for your opponent, about it's not about the outcome, it's about the process. And when winning or losing isn't everything, yes, you want to win, but it's the striving to win. It is being out there trying to give your best, not only for yourselves, but because you have respect for your opponents and you want to give them the best. Even if you know, when you are facing a team that you know is much better than you need to come in there with the beliefs that you are going to give your best and try to get better. That was kind of what we were taught on that team I was on in Little League, 1 win and 20 losses. We weren't good, but we were going to compete as best we could. We were going to win, if we did, one time, or lose with some dignity. Those were things instilled by us, by coaches. It didn't mean you liked losing. Didn't mean you wouldn't feel the frustration, maybe even the anger when you made a mistake or things didn't go the way they were supposed to go. But the sportsmanship was then, all right, you guys beat us, man. Let's move on. Geez, that was a heck of a catch you just made. Great job, right? That is what we were talking about. You've seen it sometimes in some heat of competition, and still remember a couple of years ago where video went viral where it might have been cross country, probably cross country, where a person was, trying to finish. It's a big regional meet, state meet, what have you, and the person in front of them was like gassed. They were collapsing at the very end, and this person stopped, helped them up, and it was encouraging them across the finish line. All right, that sort of sportsmanship is like above and beyond, man. That's like really modeling top sportsmanship, which are things that we really want to be teaching. Parents, coaches, we want to instill this idea of sportsmanship becomes cultural. How do you do it? You model it. You have standards that you all begin to agree on. Ultimately, as a parent too, there are chances that you're going to maybe experience some other parent not really modeling it or exhibiting it and saying things from the stands that probably shouldn't be said. And it can be difficult, but having the courage to say, hey, knock it off. We don't accept that here. Get the backing of other families to kind of support you in that, and having conversations with your child about how to handle some of that. And that's an example of being unsportsmanlike conduct. So you want to be modeling it and reinforcing it on a regular basis, and you're bringing that up constantly. You're interrupting negative patterns, giving examples of what not to do, and then rewarding and showing and encouraging the good sportsmanship. And you build that into a culture, and that unsportsmanlike conduct just is not accepted. And kids feel it. They kind of feel that, like it's like turning your back on somebody, right? If you're speaking, somebody turns their back on you, oof, right? You feel that. That's the kind of like, when you kind of do that in the context of somebody who's being showing unsportsmanlike conduct, you just kind of go, no, that's not okay. They feel it, and they can learn from that. As we come to the close of another video, please consider subscribing to my channel, checking out other videos, checking out my podcast, and you might also be interested in registering for one of our free webinars. In particular, you might be interested in emotional hygiene, that webinar that will kind of talk about some of the emotional aspects of this and how sportsmanship ties into that. So register for that, check that out today, and then come back and see us in another video.